Good afternoon. You are listening to the Roundtable here on Empire Radio Now. I'm your host, Chrissy J., and my guest at the moment is Christopher from San Diego, California. Good. Well, I guess I should say morning to you, Christopher, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. For all of my listeners, Christopher is an energy facilitator in Sovereign Harmony, located in San Diego, California. So, Christopher, can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I think it probably deserves a little bit of background first. So it be kind of confusing just to kind of jump in and say what I do without understanding why I'm doing it.
Okay.
So I just want to discuss basically the way I look at it. The world in general is in a shift right now, and it's changing from a world where we once believed that we had to be codependent in order to survive and be peaceful, and we're changing into one where we're recognizing our wholeness as individuals and that, knowing that that's where peace actually comes from.
Okay.
And so what I try to do is help people remember connection consciousness, because how we've been indoctrinated in general has been to believe we're separate, believe we're separate from the natural cycles, separate from nature in general. And that is what kind of creates codependency, this yearning for something outside, this addiction to what is outside of us. And so this is what my job essentially is, to help people recognize the actual reality of connection consciousness and using tools to honor the sovereign individuation, so the natural complexity within each human, rather than the simplicity we're supposed to believe.
Wow. Okay. So what was it that led you down this path to really start taking a look at our current lifestyle and to look at how you can facilitate change?
It's a really good question. It's hard to say. I mean, I originally just got into the art and the science of astrology. I think when people hear that, they first hear that term, and they immediately think of sun signs and the simplicity associated with sun signs and kind of categorizing people in that kind of simplicity. In reality, astrology is much deeper than that, and there's many pieces to it, and it actually allows us to see the complexity and to honor that complexity. And so I really got into that, first looking at myself, my own information astrologically, and really getting a deeper understanding of myself, and then moving into working with others, and just seeing how bringing up the truth of others' complexity really helps them understand themselves better, also within the context of the natural cycles that they're connected to. And so the more I can do that for larger entities, that's where it's like I'm headed next.
Okay. No, it definitely makes sense. I mean, the more that you understand about yourself spiritually, the more of a fit of a person you'll be. I don't necessarily mean just physical health, but they do speak an awful lot about the mind-body-spirit connection. And in order for you to really be in sync with yourself and really know yourself, you do need to know that spiritual side of you as well.
Yeah, I think that, and in fact, I think that's probably primary. If we don't do that first, it's easy to get led down the wrong road by other people's intentions and manipulations of what they want us to believe.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I do see that we're starting to near the end of our time, but where do you see yourself in the future? I see that you've already come so far, just from when you, as you put it, downloaded the astrological and metaphysical side of yourself in 2004 to your own practice in Sacramento 4 years later to where you've evolved today. What do you think is next for you?
Well, like I briefly mentioned earlier, I think larger entities, I think where we're headed in society is into smaller organizational units. So, there's an effort right now on a global level to kind of consolidate all of the world under sort of a, one umbrella, at least on the financial level, to keep things under control. But I think what's happening in reality that will ultimately triumph is more of a breakdown into smaller units. And with current technology, there won't be, that fear of disconnection when we think about breaking into smaller units, smaller communities, and that kind of thing. Doesn't really exist with modern technology. And I see myself working with business owners as well as communities that are having to come together and really understand how to productively move forward, in whatever their intentions are, in this new sense of reality that isn't based on codependence, but that's based on sovereignty and creating peace from that sovereignty.
Wow, it's certainly a very noble goal, Christopher, and I can definitely tell that you're the man who has the drive and the passion and the knowledge to make that happen. That's, like I said, that's certainly an undertaking, especially since so many people are afraid of change and afraid of themselves, to make everyone, well, not to make everyone, but to help facilitate the establishment of smaller communities, especially with the as you put it before, with the technology. You really don't disconnect, but so many people have that fear of missing out, that might be intimidating at first. But as we're naturally being driven to the smaller communities, we're going to need somebody to help with that transfer, even if we don't really realize it at first.
Yeah, and I think it's less about convincing people. I think when things start to fall apart, our modern world, what we count on as what is stable and reliable starts to break down, and these communities kind of organically form themselves. They'll be looking for this kind of organizational assistance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join me here on the Roundtable, Christopher. For everyone else, please be sure to visit his website, sovereignharmony.com. That's www.sovereignharmony.com. Christopher, thank you again for taking the time out to join me here this morning.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. For everyone else, we'll be back right after this.